Here's how to take your presents to the next level with these fun, fancy bows. The first thing I do is I tie off the present like normal with whatever coordinating ribbon works with my paper, and then I set that to the side. Now I've chosen 4 different ribbons for this package, and I'm going to cut 4 strips of each pattern in 20-inch lengths. The length you decide to cut your ribbon is going to be based on how big your present is. 20 inches is pretty standard for most packages. I mean, obviously, if you have a small package, you're not going to do strips this long. So you just cut 4 of each color. So I'm using a yellow, a white, an orange gingham, and a red and pale blue plaid. All of these will be 20 inches long. They don't have to be exact, you just measure and snip. I would recommend when you are making these bows to use at least 3 different patterns. If you go any less than 3, your bow's not going to be full. So here I'm using 4 different types. You can go 5, absolutely, over the top, but at least 3. So now I've got all the cuts made. Now I start making the loops for the bow. I figure out the best coordinating pattern. So what I'm doing here is a plaid, then a solid, then a plaid, then a solid. So I have my blue and red, then I stack the white on top, then I stack the orange and white plaid or gingham, and then the yellow. And you just lay them on top of one another. You just want to keep the loops pretty straight. Then I repeat the pattern. So I do it twice. So I start over with the blue and red plaid, then I do the white, then I do the orange, and then I do the yellow. Basically, you have loops sticking out of my hand and tails on the other side. So now that side is complete. Now I'm going to turn the bow and then repeat the same loops on the other side where I stack the loops on top of the tails using that same pattern. So I follow the blue and red gingham or plaid, then the white, then the orange, and then the yellow. And you can see it's starting to form a bow. So basically this is super easy. The only thing you need to do is be able to hang on to all that ribbon because it's a big wad in your hand. Very simple. So now I have the bow made, and the way to tie it off is with a zip tie. When I attach the zip tie, I don't get it super tight in the beginning, just tight enough to keep the ribbons from coming apart, and then I give it its first little zhuzh. So basically what I want to do is get the loops off of one another, spread them out, and I just gently tug on it and pull. And if any of my loops get out of whack, this is where I can gently move them around and get them back into the same size as the rest of the bow. Then once I've got it kind of like I like it, then I pull the zip tie really tight so nothing is moving. Do not cut these zip ties with your good ribbon scissors. Get a pair of horrible scissors and cut your zip tie. Then use your good scissors to dovetail all of those ribbon tails, and you're going to have 32 tails to cut because you've used 16 pieces of ribbon. Each piece has 2 tails, so 32, and you'll be hunting them down. But that's what makes the bow really cute, and the tails are part of the designer aspect of the bow. So now it's time to put the bow on the present, and the way I attach it to the present is with curling ribbon. And I cut 12 pieces about 20 to 24 inches long because the longer it is, the easier it is to work with because it wants to curl on you. So I did 6 pieces of blue and 6 pieces of white. Pick whatever colors you want that match your package. Then you're going to slide that curling ribbon, that whole stack of it, underneath the ribbon that you use to tie the package off and over the top of the center of the bow, and you're going to tie a double knot. If you go over the first time, go under the second time, and that way your knot will not come apart on you. And it's okay if some of the curling ribbon gets hung up, it will all stay. Then once you have it, bring it all to the top and give it a little bit of a haircut so it's not quite as long. I probably cut about 4 inches off. Then I take my dull scissors. If you use sharp scissors to curl your ribbon, you're going to either cut the ribbon or you're going to cut yourself. So I use my dull scissors, and I just go in and give all the zhuzhing around the curls. And so the curling ribbon is what hides that zip tie, and then whoever you give this present to, they can just slide the whole thing off the package, or they can cut the yellow piece that ties the package together and use that bow again. They can re-gift it, or they can use it on a wreath, or they can throw it in the trash. If they throw it in the trash, I'm not giving them another present like this. So here's a quick view of the second one that I did. And in this package, I only used 3 different ribbons, and you'll get to see that. I used a hot pink sheer, I used a pink and white stripe, and then I used the white solid. And you just do the same thing, cut 4 strips of each ribbon. So this one will only have 12 loops instead of 16, but it will still work. So now I just do the exact same thing. I make all the loops, I repeat the pattern twice, and then I flip it and do the same thing on the other side. Once I form all the loops, then I tie it off with a zip tie. I don't tie it tightly, I give it a little zhuzh, then I pull it tight. Cut the zip tie with my bad scissors, then I dovetail with my good scissors. Now it's time to put the bow on the package. With this one, I'm using 3 different curling ribbon colors, a light pink, a hot pink, and the white. And so I just cut 4 pieces about 24 inches long of each color and do the exact same thing I did with the first one. Now it's time to attach the bow. And you can see how I ran the curling ribbon underneath that first piece I used to tie off the present. And I make 2 loops to tighten it. Then I give it a haircut, and then I curl all the ribbon with my dull scissors.